got the movement out the way.
Yeah. Welcome back to MMA Underground, your favorite part of Tuesday. I'm one half the dynamic duo known as Buddy V, killing it with the one and only.
Sam K and shit, man. We got a phenomenal guest in the building. We got the one, the only creator, owner,
Man.
fighter, leader, mathematician of Scrapyard. The one, the only fire chicken in the building.
I appreciate you guys for having me on the show. It's always an honor.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Great to have you back again.
And it's, gonna be fun because we got lots of good things to talk about. I know you're just coming off an event too. And we give thanks for a lot of things, and I'm sure that there was two gentlemen in particular who were very grateful to have you because you had a beef fight this past live event, right? That you were able to solve.
We did have a beef fight at the event, yes.
Yo.
So a couple guys hit me up, and they essentially were just having words with each other, talking shit, that kind of stuff, right? So I don't know how. So until people actually show up, it's not really real, because people tell me, hey, I got the problem with this dude. And they're like, well, where's he live? New York. I'm in Oregon. It's like, come on. Like we gotta try to make this work. If it's not going to work, you're just going to have to put up some kind of barrier to where you're not going to communicate with this person anymore. So these people said, hey, they're local. They both agreed to it, and they would both show up and fight each other. They came out, they did everything they were supposed to. They did their weigh-ins, they signed their waivers, and they agreed to MMA. The fight happened. It was pretty quick. One guy had an advantage, couple advantages over the other guy. So after the fight, I'd say like probably a couple fights later, they said they weren't satisfied. They said like, we want to go again, but we want to do just boxing. And I go, I'm perfectly fine with that. Not be perfectly fine because I don't want you guys leaving feeling like you got more stuff stored up that you need to get out. Anyway, I said, you guys can run it, boxing, whatever. But then a couple fights later, they both came up to me and they said, you know what? We agreed. We don't really want to do another one. I go, that's really good. I go, look, you guys are both welcome out here anytime. You guys are, we could match you up with other people. You could just be part of the community, whatever. I'm hoping that helped. Yeah.
Well, man, sounds like mission accomplished,
Yep.
It's cool when you talk about these different fighters coming back. I was actually kind of curious with every yard, with every style, with every weight class. We see these seasons of where like, oh, this is stacked. Oh, okay, now it's kind of like this is stacked. And right now, I was kind of going to ask you, what do you feel is like the most stacked the most stacked weight division, I should say? Because I know it's like kind of up and down with the medium and the heavyweights, the lightweights. I'm like, oh man.
So there's kind of there always has been this, I call it like my easy to match up zone, right? And it's typically from like 155 to like 190, maybe 185, maybe right around. That's the easiest weight. There's just more people around those weights because we get heavyweights, we get 115 pounders, but just right in the middle there, that's where most people fall. So I'd say probably the most stacked division right now is probably like, I'm just going to say like 165, 170.
That's about right. Yeah, on the West Coast, we have a lot of people in that range as well. I wanted to ask, just speaking on West Coast, and getting back to the beef fights, we've had a few over at Street Beefs West Coast, but not too many. I was just curious, as far as Scrapyard is concerned, roughly how many beef fights have you guys had?
I think here.
And what's probably the most memorable one.
Memorable one. There's internal beefs and there's external beefs. You know, you get people that'll come to you that aren't fighters at the scrapyard. I would say we've only had probably 3 or 4 of those total. That's where they both show up. They both get in there. Never really see the people again. You got some internal beefs. We had a beef a while back. It was La Arena and Lights Out. I mean, we had Ronan, which it was he fought Jay Gotham the first time he was in the yard. That was a beef fight because they got into altercation outside the cage at the event. You know, having to think of it like off the top of my head is a little tough. I know that our champion Isaiah, remember him? He fought him, Buddy V.
Oh, yeah. Heck yeah.
So
he had a beef fight.
Him and a buddy had a beef fight. Yeah, they showed
Not this buddy.
him and his other buddy. They had a beef fight. They showed up. It was probably like November or something, and they said, "Hey, you know, we've always talked like who would win in a fight," and they showed up and fought each other. It was kind of like a flash knockout. Like dude got all wobbly and was about ready to fall over, and we stopped it. Yeah, I don't know, man. I know that we've had in 4 years, we've had 51 events. And so it gets a little hard to remember. What's up, Buck? It gets a little tough to remember exactly who comes out, especially if they only came out one time.
Yeah.
What's up, Dad? So yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, I just think that probably one of the most memorable ones was you know, La Arena and Lights Out. Yeah. I wouldn't say it was like a super heated beef. They just had animosity and they handled it. So there's always been some like a little bit of smack talk and stuff, you know, but I don't know. I hate to kind of not you kind of half-ass answer your question, but it kind of would require me to sit down and go through some old videos and Ruckus and Simo was one that we had. They didn't actually fight.
Okay, because I was like, I never saw video.
And then there was one with now I'm thinking, see, Too Explosive and Simo, because Simo and him got into comments online and
Yep.
they fought each other in the cage. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, I think you know, street beefs across the branches has kind of evolved from just being beef fights. So it's always interesting to kind of go back to the root and get an idea of like, you know, because some people wonder if they're still happening, and you know, yeah, we do still have them across the branches. It's just it's become more of a competitive space now, you know. But yeah, that's pretty interesting.
I think the fact that the name of the organization being Street Beefs just lets people know that if there is a problem, that's where they go. Where else anywhere can you think of? It's like, if I have a beef with somebody, where am I going to solve it? I don't care who you are, like a celebrity, a person on the streets, like, you know that you can, Razor and John Ed's 33. That's a good one. Where else can you go and actually solve a beef without, you know, police being involved and all that? Street Beefs, that's it. So just having that name and people knowing that it is the outlet is really important, because beefs do come up every once in a while. I mean, as we're sitting here talking about it, more and more, remembering more and more. So yeah, that's they'll just come to us whenever they need that.
Facts.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I kind of liked Ryan's question when I saw it in the comments, asking if somebody was ever lacked the skills so much so that you asked them to not come back.
Definitely not.
Oh,
Nobody nobody's ever been turned away due to lack of skill. Now it might be difficult to get people matchups that are either on the high end or the lower end of the skills, because we try to accommodate everybody. If somebody's, really, really beginner, or have some, issues that kind of prevents them from, being very athletic, we just try to match them up with somebody that's equal. And sometimes it takes some time, like finding a female fight, right? It takes time. We don't just always have females signing up, but I think we're getting a little bit better at it. We seem to be having a ladies fighting about every other event now.
Yeah. You guys are the most frequent out of all the branches. I think OG Yard overall has you beat in total just because they have so many years prior to all the branches. But in modern times, you guys are definitely the most frequent in having female fights and good
Yeah.
fights.
Yeah. I think a little bit of it's just letting them get past that kind of. I think it kind of like snowballs. When you get one or two in there, then you get a couple more that want to sign up, and then they're like, okay, this is okay. They're going to give me a good match. Obviously, the more that you have, the more fair matchups you can make.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy because with the fighters growing and getting more eyes on you, I mean, scrapyards continue to grow. And I know I've been waiting to ask because I'm real curious about the UK invasion. Because I know you would have full of fighters going. I'm just like, is there a date that's kind of in the air, maybe, or like, do you have maybe some matchups for a couple people, or y'all just gonna start grinding and get ready to kick ass and take names, line them all up?
So I should start out with kind of explaining what it is. It's an actual promotion. It's not a backyard thing or anything like that. This promotion reached out to me a while back. They said, hey, we want like 8 of your fighters, and we'll put them up against like 8 fighters from different countries, from Nigeria, Uganda, France. In fact, I'm not really sure if any of them are actually from the UK, because this promotion isn't a UK promotion. It's a global promotion. And this one event that we're going to be doing with them could and should lead to other events globally, giving our fighters big opportunities, giving them something to fight for. And the fighters that we chose, we chose champions. We chose our highest level fighters, and we picked, I'll start at the bottom. Well, actually, I'll start at the top. We picked El Guanaco, heavyweight champion, undefeated. We picked Epic Tan. I mean, self-explanatory. We picked Viking Warrior, self-explanatory. We picked Flex. 205-pound champion, lots of experience. We picked King Kai, Malik Ogun, Lights Out, and the Chef. I think that's all 8 of them. I apologize to any of the fighters if I forgot you, but I think that was 8.
That was 8 names. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so that's who we picked. That's supposed to take place, or we're set to take place February, I believe it's the 8th. Don't quote me on that exact date. It'll be a big promotion. There's going to be lots of seats. It's going to be pay-per-view. Everybody's going to get a chance to see it. The fighters, I believe they already have their opponents matched up. So my second in command, LB3, which is Len, he's handling a lot of the contracts and everything, the arrangements of getting us over there, and all the gear, and we're training at the Benavides gym in Burien, and we're training at Burritos boxing gym in Tacoma. So we're splitting the people up between kind of their location. So if you live in Seattle, right, you're going to train in Burien. If you live down in Tacoma, Olympia area, you're going to come up to the Tacoma one and train. We're splitting the coaches up. There's 4 coaches. There's myself, there's Len, there's Jermaine White, and Anomaly. We're all for coaching the fighters. We're starting a training camp, I believe, the beginning of December. Yeah. I think I got everything. Let me know if I missed anything.
Hey, well, if you need to look a media person, if you're gonna have your hands so full, I mean, I can try to get my passport and bring all my camera and stuff and help you with some GoPros, and I'll just sit all quiet. I'll media man right there, get the questions for afterwards too. Be like, hey, I got my pass.
I
What was it
mean,
like kicking ass?
that's 100% not a bad idea. I I think it'd be neat to have a media crew, and that's something I haven't really thought of putting together, for trips like this. But yeah, that's definitely
Heck
something
yeah.
to think about.
Yeah, because that's a perfect
Either.
segue into I mean, man, you've got so much going on, and there's been such exponential growth with Scrapyard. You guys have your own documentary coming out, and with that, this is just first of possible many, right? So with
Yes.
that crew that Buddy's mentioning, I mean, they'll be capturing years of footage to create, documentaries for years to come, potentially.
Yeah. The documentary crew they're out of New York. They're a fairly large company called hold on, Fire Chicken. Once you know the logistics, maybe Maddie the Brit could meet you guys. It'd be really cool. Yes. Um, let me say that we're also associated with Love to Beat Radio over in the UK, and they publish us in their magazine every 4 months. We're probably going to
Yeah,
meet up
so
with
that's
them. We're going to
magazine.
meet up with them over there also, and get some a little bit of promotion, a little bit of radio time, some interviews and stuff there. We're going to be over there for a little while. But anyway, back to the documentary. So the company that's putting the documentary on is Generation Iron. Um, they've done a number of documentaries. I would say they've probably done over 30 videos altogether, because they do dabble in like film too, not just documentaries. But they've mainly focused on Mr. Olympia bodybuilding stuff, and they're very big into that. In fact, their documentary Generation Iron, back in, like, I think it was 2013, that did really well. That was like a major documentary. It was like the continuation of Pumping Iron, that Arnold was in this one. I mean, it had everybody in it. Now, they're trying to get more focused on, or try to branch out a little bit and try out some different areas. Back in 2016, they did a documentary called The Hurt Business. This had Daniel Cormier, Ronda Rousey. It was focused around John Jones. I mean, it had Chuck Liddell in it. It had everybody in it. So this documentary company has major connections. I'm not going to publicly put out who we're looking at getting into the documentary and who they're reaching out to, or they're going to get into it for sure. But it might be some people that have past experiences with, backyard fighting and that kind of stuff, or maybe people that are followers of us or know what we do, kind of to voice their opinion. The point of the documentary is to show the difference between, well, in my opinion, the difference between what we're perceived as and what we actually are. The community behind these backyard fights, the Street Beefs community, right? How we're there for each other, how we can actually give people opportunities, how we can introduce them to combat sports. We want to showcase the positivity of Street Beefs. And I know that Generation Iron's the company, the group to do that. They've been out twice. They've shot two events. They've interviewed me once, like full on interview. They got to interview me 2 more times. They're shadowing or doing individual stories on 4 of our fighters for the documentary too. Flex, Solo, Pappas, and the Chef. So they're gonna meet up with these guys, talk to them, get to know them, find out their past, do all that. So it's gonna be a long documentary. It's gonna be like hour and a half, 2 hour long, I think.
Yeah,
It
so
gets the popcorn ready.
that would make sense as far as the installments of them, coming out multiple times. That's a lot of editing, and a lot of footage to go through. So, man, that's awesome and well deserved.
Yeah, I feel really fortunate that they saw us and had interest, and they said that we think you guys are really gonna get big, and we want to be there before that happens. We want to help that. So yeah, really fortunate for that. And there could be more stuff in the future after this documentary. Ooh, what was the best fight last Saturday? Let me think here. I was in a fight last Saturday.
I watched that one on the live.
I don't want to determine what your guys' order on questions and that stuff. So if you guys
No. I mean, we already here, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
All right. So I've been fighting since 2004, and I've never had an actual kickboxing match. I don't know why I got this idea to do this. So at like I think it was probably like a couple events ago or something. Solo and Pappas fought each other, and I brought it up.
Thank you, Gates. Let's go.
Yeah, that's it right there.
Let's go.
That's it. Some Weeben Red versus King Kai.
My boy, proud.
Yeah. So we brought it up like, man, I would love to see, Pappas and Solo on a tag team fight, like with each other. Mm-hmm. So it kind of got put out in the air, and then the documentary crew wanted me to fight. So I did a tag team boxing match with Naughty Nate. This is last event, not this one.
Right. I saw that.
With Naughty Nate, Busta Nutting, and Flex. And so that was kind of my thing there. So I think we talked about like, hey, would it be neat to see Solo and Pappas as tag partners? Well, I don't know why, but this time it started to get closer, and I thought, I'm gonna do another tag team match, and I'm gonna go against Solo and Pappas. And we were gonna do boxing, and I didn't know who my partner was gonna be. I picked the comedian because he's fought Solo and Pappas and me, and I felt like we've all fought each other at some point. I've trained with them. I've never actually fought Solo and Pappas, I guess. Well, if you spar Pappas, you fight Pappas. That's how it is. There is no sparring Pappas. It's a fight. That's just how he is. He's intense. So really the only one I'd never actually like tried to hit really hard was Solo. And so they were going to be on a team, and comedian and myself, and we were going to do boxing, but Solo wanted kickboxing, and who am I to deny Solo what he wants? So, Pappas has kickboxed before, comedian has, me, first time. So said, okay, let's do it. I knew my shins were just going to be beat to shit the next day. And I was thinking like, man, I sure hope Solo does not head kick me. I don't want to be that real. But we ended up having the match, and we all got together, but right before the match too. First off, I got together a comedian, and we worked on our game plan, but then Solo and Pappas came over, and I said, so we need to talk about the intensity that we're going to do this at. He's like, Pappas, like, right. I wanted to know, like, how good, like, how are we making this a hard spar? And I go, I think we should do a full fight. And him and Solo were just like, Solo went, yeah. They were all
Yeah.
about it. And I was just like, okay, these guys, but these guys fight like every event. It's
Right.
nothing, it's not new for them to, being the side of getting, being the side of getting full force toward them. And so I was like, okay, 100% kickboxing, first time against Solo and Pappas. Okay. So Comedian and I kind of looked at to see who was first and everything, and I think it was Solo. And so I said, Comedian, you go against Solo first. Tag me in when you want out. So he went in there. Solo landed some good stuff on Comedian. Comedian landed some good stuff on him. Solo tagged out and went to Pappas. Pappas attacked viciously. Comedian just like a swarm of bees. And then he threw some punches back and he tagged me. Or let me think. Yeah, I did go. I think it was Pappas that I went against first. No, Solo. I can't remember. There was so much tagging going back and forth, not excessive amount.
There was one point where they tagged back and forth. Yeah, real quick, couple times.
Yeah, there was one. I hit Pappas with a really good hook, and he immediately went back and tagged. And it's just like, you start to get winded. It's like, instead of like risking dropping your hands and getting smacked, you go tag. You have to physically tag. You got to get over to your opponent, or your partner. And we did 2 rounds at 4 minutes each. And we did that so that you have 2 minutes each, or you get 3 minutes and your partner gets 1. I didn't feel like, man, I wish I would have trained for the fight, like really trained for it. I didn't do anything. It sounds really bad, but I didn't. I don't know how much that would have changed. I didn't do nothing. I didn't even hit a heavy bag for a month. And it's,
I thought you were talking about in the fight. You didn't.
No, leading up to it, I didn't do anything for it. But I think, honestly, like, I think that the only real difference it would have been would be I'd probably be less tired at the end, and maybe my shots would have been a little bit less sloppy. But I mean, we all made it. We all made it the 8 minutes, and in the last like 30 seconds, Coach P just says, "Okay, everybody's in." Yeah,
that's funny.
It was a time. Like, that was a really, really cool experience. And where else are you ever going to do something like that besides Street Beefs?
Right? They got tag team fighting, having here they're jumping in, having Shark Tanks. I mean, shit.
Yeah, it's all about having fun. And I tell people, like, these special fights, they don't count on your record or nothing, but most people just kind of want the exposure. They don't really care. They're like, oh, it's a new win or it's a new loss. No, I get some camera time. I get to show my skills.
Yeah, like you said, at some point it just becomes fun, I had a series.
Naughty Nate. I just saw the comments. Thank you, Naughty Nate. He cornered and Anomaly. They cornered us, so I got to give a shout out to those guys.
Shout out, Nate.
Oh yeah.
I had a question, man. Speaking of fun, because we all love it here on the West Coast too. Our last event of the year was the Halloween event, where a good amount of people dressed up. And just like we did on the West Coast over at Scrapyard, you guys had a Halloween event where you guys dressed up as well. What were you?
Winter Soldier.
Because I saw you, huh?
Winter Soldier.
Okay. Because I saw you go through like several transformations, and I'm like, I don't know what Fire Chicken is, who he is, but like, he's confident up there. Even with that,
saw was
I saw a wig.
The wig was the Winter Soldier wig.
Okay.
That was the Winter Soldier costume. But then at one point I got in there for my fight, and I just didn't put the rest of my stuff back on. I'm just like, I'm beat up Winter Soldier now. I'm not redressing up. I'm just kind of like, that's enough. So yeah, people dressed up. It was a rainy event. We had night fights that night though. So we had our first kind of miniature night event. I guess Buddy V, you kind of were the first
Yeah.
mini night event.
Yeah.
But this one we
32.
Yep. This one we actually had 3 fights. The documentary crew stayed. We had a
Okay.
Halloween party. We gutted a shipping container and we put up, my wife, she put up with her friends a ton of decorations, and we partied till, I don't know, probably like midnight or something. And, you know, cause we're old, we don't go to like 4 o'clock in the morning anymore. It was a good time, you know. I think the documentary crew got a chance to see, like, you know, a little bit of the fun side of the scrapyard too.
That's what's up.
the, the Winter Soldier could punch too. I felt that belly shot. It was hard to tell, like, if I was making contact, like what I was making contact with. He dressed up as a lizard. It was a lizard onesie. And it's like this, just like, I don't know where I'm punching really. Was that the chest?
Mm,
Was that the solar plexus? Like, it's tough to read.
I'm gonna make them hurt somewhere.
that's funny. Do you have a favorite costume throughout the years or from the last event?
That I saw, or that oh,
Mhm.
yes, I do. But it's personal. That's why. So
Hey, I
I
get
didn't know about this. I had my costume picked out. I'm dressing up as Winter Soldier, right? And I go out there and I'm getting ready for announcing the first couple fights. And I look over at my nephew, who he does like security and stuff. He's a big dude. He's probably like 280, like 6'3" or something. Big guy, right? Big red beard. I look over. He's got a goatee. He's got a mohawk hat on that he cut down. He has a Sasquatch Hawaiian shirt and pit
Oh
bikes.
yeah.
I had to do a double take. I'm like, you dressed up as me? I just, out of everything that I've ever seen, people dressing up, it blew my mind because I was not expecting it, and they kept it from me too.
like, hold on, wait. You're like, what'd you put in my coffee this morning? What the heck? Hey,
He's in the wrong universe.
I dressed
like,
up as,
oh, you have to fight. You have to fight your shadow self. Oh no.
oh yeah, I dressed up as Kano the year before, and I did
Yep.
all those like fatalities. That was like a lot of editing though. I didn't want to do that again this year.
That was hilarious though. I got it. The first fight that came out from that event, I was like, oh shit.
Hey, that's cool, man. I was gonna say, I love how Streetbeefs really is a big fun community and it's growing. And I know that your name is growing too. People know Fire Chicken everywhere they go. And having fun. I was actually kind of curious. You've gone to a few different promotions. I know that you've gone to BKFC events in different states, weigh-ins. You got to go to even tryouts and stuff. I mean, what was some of the most fun places you got to go, or like the fun experiences that you got to go now being a branch leader, not as a fighter before?
Um, I've had 3 like big ones off the top of my head I can think of that were just really cool. Maybe 4. I'll start out with the top one. I think the best trip, and it's tough because the only reason I'm putting this one at the top is because when you're behind the scenes of a big promotion and you get to meet everybody behind the scenes, like the president of the promotion and all that stuff, it's like a bucket list item that you just checked off, you know. So Derek Gates was on here, and he got a hold of me like, hey, Fire Chicken, can I come out to the scrapyard a while back to I'm a BKFC fighter, like I'd like to watch. And I go, yeah, I'd like to have you out. So he started coming out, and well, he had a fight, and he said, hey, Steve, I'd like you to be my corner down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Like, oh, are you kidding me? Like, I think I said yes before even asking my wife. Like, I was like,
Mhm.
yes. And so we flew down there. I mean, we went to weigh-ins. I met, like, I was there for the autograph signing. I was there for the medical visits. I interviewed Chris Lights Out Lytle in front of the hotel. I met Julian Lane and got a picture with him. I met the two headliners. It was Trout was fighting. He was the main event that night, and Palomino. And I met both them, got pictures with them. I vlogged the whole thing with Derek, you know, got before in the airport and all that stuff. We just had a really good time. Like we went to the mall and stuff and out there and, you know, being in Florida, it was just a really cool experience. Met Dave Feldman, the president, met Platinum Mike Perry. He was in the crowd, walked up to him, said, "Hey, Mike, can I get a picture?" And, you know, he's like, yeah, okay. You know, and we got a picture together and asked Dave Feldman, the president, a couple questions. And, you know, it seemed pretty cool. Everybody knew Street Beefs was. They knew who I was because Derek was actually in a viral clip that made several millions of views with the Jewish Hammer. And he was in the background and he had his BKFC shirt on. And so that's like promotion for BKFC. Like they you know, it got lots of views. So when I was there, people were like, oh, I remember the knockout, you know, with, you know, Derek in there. And so they kind of knew who I was a little bit. I got recognized at the BKFC fights in the lobby of the casino. Like we were walking to our seats because after the fight, they give you seats. And I was walking to my seats and some guy comes running up to me. He's like, "You're Fire Chicken. I watch your stuff all the time." He's like, "Man, this made my night." I was like, "Man, that was actually really cool. Made me feel good." So that was number one. I'd say my second one, probably Power Slap. Disturbing the Peace hooked me up with a ticket to that.
DTP.
And, yeah, DTP, shout out. And I got to meet all the Power Slap guys, most of them, out in front of fair. I can't think of the name of the what's that main road there? Not the Strip, but the one where they're
Fremont Street.
Fremont, that's it. Yeah, Fremont. They all come. It was kind of neat because I'd watched the reality show with Power Slap, and I knew all these guys,
Cool.
right? And I watched it probably up to that point about 3 times because I knew I was going to Power Slap. So I'd watch it the initial time on my own, and then when I found out I was going to Power Slap, I watched it a couple more times. So I mean, I knew who all these guys were, and I just got a hold of them all and said, "Hey, I'm gonna be down at Fremont." So they said, "We'll meet you there." And I just remember like walking towards them, and they're coming off a side street, and I point at them, and I go, and they point at me, and they do the same thing, and I'm just like, "I watched you guys," and they're like, "We watch you all the time." And I mean, we hung out, we ate some street tacos, we had a good time. And that was like the night before the Power Slap, then the night of the Power Slap. And I shout out to Illuminate the State. He came to Power Slap, or he didn't go to, he couldn't get into Power Slap, but he was on the trip with me. So we hung out like the whole time. We did some, you know, Vegas stuff. We went to Area 15. We went to the Titanic Museum. We walked around drinking and the whole day, you know, it was fun. And then Power Slap comes around. I get in there, you know, it's really exclusive at that point. Now I think it's public. You can buy a ticket, but you couldn't then. So I walk in, I go, you know, it's the Apex. So it's got like all the Ultimate Fighter stuff on the wall, previous jerseys, signatures, pictures of everybody. And they check your ID, make sure you're on the list. They let you in. They let me bring some cameras and stuff in too. I go in there, I get my seat, which there's not a bad seat in there because it was so small. They go, "That's the open bar over there. That's the buffet. You're free as much of it as you want." They said, just don't walk around too much. Like kind of don't hang around like in the pathways, like, you know. So anyway, I go sit down. I'm sitting next to this guy. He says he was playing blackjack with Dana the night before, and Dana gave him a ticket, and that's how he got his ticket. And I look over, I see Forrest Griffin standing there, like probably 30 feet from me. I'm like, "That's Forrest Griffin." Or I think I asked him, like, "Is that Forrest Griffin?" And they're like, "Yeah, that's Forrest Griffin." I'm like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, look over there. I'm like, "Oh, there's Biz Ping. Oh, there's Dana White." Just a lot of like UFC fighters and that kind of, you know, famous people. Nina Drama, doing all the media stuff. Anyway, so I saw that Forrest, because he's one of the officials out there. he was catching people. That's what his job is. He wears like the glasses with the camera in it. I saw that he took a break and ran to get a drink. I was like, hey, good time to go get a drink. So I went over there and I go in, I get my drink, and I was like, Forrest Griffin. Like, he's like, how's it going? I told him, I was like, I run Street Beefs up in Washington, you know, I'm kind of fanboyed out a little bit and said, man, your season of the Ultimate Fighter was like my favorite season, you know, and he was really cool, really humble, you know, got a picture with me and all that. And went back, watched DDP, watched everybody do their competitions. And then when it was all, because I couldn't really get to Dana because he's like on the other side of this thing, and I didn't want to bug him while the whole thing was going on anyway. So I waited until it was over, and one of the Power Slap guys said, hey, go over there. Just like, I'm like, but there's people. No, he's like, no, just go over there. I'm like, okay. So I walked right over there after the show, and I just kind of like walked up and, you know, let kind of people have their interaction with him. And I was like, hey, Dana, what's going on? I introduced myself. I told him, like, I run the scrapyard out in Washington, Street Beefs. And he's like, it's hard to gauge his reaction to, like, obviously he knows, he's got to know what Street Beefs is. Cause I honestly don't believe there's anybody in any fight community that doesn't know, has never heard that name. You can't tell me that Joe Rogan, that Dana White, that Dave Feldman, that, you know, all these people don't know what it is. They have to. I mean, it's everybody's seen a Street Beefs fight. Any fight enthusiast has seen a Street Beefs fight. I'd put money on that.
Even Jake Paul brought him up. Remember that?
Before that, Jake Paul brought up Street Beefs. Yes, he did. So anyway, that was my second best. It was a super cool experience. I got a picture with Dana White. I've been to, actually going into such detail with those, I kind of forgot, like, he knows. So yes, he signed Street Beefs Fighters for sure. Yep. Dana.
Oh yeah. And they've had their discussions on those fighters returning back to Street Beefs to fight. So he's aware for sure.
Yeah. Power Slap doesn't like their fighters, or UFC or Power Slap. They don't like their people doing stuff outside of what they're now. BKFC, like, they're a little bit different. They'll let you do this or that or whatever. Not saying like Derek could fight for us because he's a pro boxer, but yeah, they're strict on it. I get it. I mean, that's their people, you know, they want to schedule a person. They don't want their fighter getting hurt doing something else. But yeah, I've been out to a number of, like, you know, local shows, casino shows. I've had the people that run the casino shows locally come out and watch our events. I've had Sean Kemp out here. I've had Chisel Adonis out here. I had a guy from the men's room, the Ted Smith, out here. I've been hit up by a lot more than that, but, you know, it's kind of sketchy at first. Like, I'm going to roll on out to these backyard fights, but it's kind of funny because even like Sean and, you know, Jose Benavides has been out, and they were like, man, I was kind of sketched out at first rolling up, but then I got in here and I was like, this is really cool. So it changes opinions. And I think the documentary is going to really help people with that too, and kind of ease it a little bit to where you guys don't think, or they don't think they're walking into like this totally reckless, like, crazy thing.
Oh yeah, and it's crazy that's like so many people with that first intention of when they want to fight. That's like the biggest. Like, I don't know if I could go there, and am I going to get jumped? Am I going to get this? And as soon as you walk in, it's like walking through a bubble. You can almost feel it, like, bloop, and it's just like, hey, what's up? You here to fight? Oh, cool. Come over here. And it's like, oh, okay, cool.
I do an announcement at the beginning of all the events where I ask people where they're all from, who's returning, who's new. I tell people, look around. I say, make some friends, find out who's in your area that you can train with, find the local gyms. Like, we're a community. You know, if you need to reach out to people for anything, you know, if you're going through some shit, like, that's what we're here for. It's the fight thing is great. It lets you blow some steam off. It gives you that mental break once a month, and it lets you be part of something. But That's what the community's there for.
Facts. Facts. You know, and it's crazy because especially in the past year, you guys have, the channel has grown by a lot. The views have grown by a lot, and you see it through celebrities reaching out, showing up to your events, showing up on your podcasts, and all of that is great. But I don't think people realize the work that you're doing behind the scenes, the digital editing and the digital work that you're doing to grow what you've created. Can you talk a little bit about the actual the process of like working behind the scenes, building the algorithm, and creating more community? How does that work?
Well, I'll start off by saying I think the reason I love this whole thing so much is because when I grew up, I was really into a few things. I mean, video games. My dad had me watching boxing and MMA at a young age, the first UFCs. I was doing video type editing stuff and picture editing and stuff in high school. I've always had a knack for that whole digital editing process. So I enjoy it. The editing process is not for everybody. It's tedious. If you're not a fan of it, you're gonna get burned out on it. But to me, it's like a form of like expressing art. I can take something, I can create something visually appealing, that's entertaining, that you actually want to sit down and watch, and I can try my best to put it as close to what I've seen by professional organizations. I don't have any schooling for editing. When I started with Street Beefs, I got a camera and I winged it. Literally, I learned as I went. My intros were bad. My camera work was bad. My editing was just chop, chop, go. Now I just didn't know what to do. But you know what? Necessity oftentimes is what makes you better. You have to do something out of necessity, you're going to get better out of it. And I couldn't pay somebody to edit my videos. So it was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to enjoy it because I already like working with that stuff. So I forced myself to learn how to do it. I had people filming in the early days, but then it got to a point where some of the people filming were getting inconsistent, and this is nothing against them. You got to figure, like, people come out, they're devoting their time, and they can't always make it. And then, so like, I'm out there and there might be, my camera guy didn't show up this month. It's like, now what? Okay, I'm in there. I'm in there. Okay, so if I'm in there, it's kind of like I can capture exactly what I want. Point the camera where I want. I can make sure I get the best shots. If I forget to push the record button, I can't be mad at anybody but myself. I can't. And I have done that before. Back in the early days, I botched a couple fights. But yeah, I forget to push the record button. So I take that as my responsibility. I go in there. I get in there. I film. Sometimes we've had over 40 fights before in one day. And I filmed every single one of them. I was in the ring, running around circles, swapping memory cards, swapping batteries, recharging, cooling off cameras, sometimes creating different things for dealing with lighting, sometimes dealing with rain, creating different things over my cameras so that they're just not getting on the lens. I used to, with my older cameras, I've dealt with corrupted files and stuff, but I've learned as I've gone, and 4 years down the road, I've got a pretty good idea of like how I want to shoot. And then my editing, I think each video roughly takes me 2 hours. I'm putting a lot of work into different things. Some things sometimes you might not notice some stuff that I do. but I just do it. I like creating almost Easter eggs sometimes, some small details. Some small details might take a lot of work and they might not pan out like I want them to. But I know I had this thing for a while there where I was doing these images that moved, their faces and stuff, and it was a neat idea, but
With like the
ultimately, like,
AI?
yeah,
Yeah, those are cool.
yeah. And then I started doing like, well, let's cartoonize the picture and then animate them. And then it was like, I don't know. So trying things out. I've tried a lot of stuff out. Sometimes I bring stuff back. I always try to keep a new feel, like, because like I said before, artistic expression. If I'm feeling like I want a particular theme in this video, or I want a certain song, or I want to do this or that, like I just kind of, and sometimes it can take more time based on this idea that I have. Thumbnail design, same deal. Like I might want to create a thumbnail that says what this video is about. I might want it to do certain things, and it might take some extra time. Um, so yeah, I do all the editing, like I said, do all the filming myself. I do all the file transfers myself. I do the majority of editing the reels. I do have somebody helping me with those now, but it's maybe like they give me like 2 a week. I post them all though. So I'm posting on like every single platform you can probably, popular platforms. I try different ones out. I try to grow. I've actually built my personal Facebook up to 105,000 followers. Just myself. And my Instagram, or the Scrapyard Instagram, I focused on heavily. You know, that wasn't an avenue that a while back that I wanted to invest in. I didn't see the what am I trying to say? I didn't see the reasoning for investing into it until I started to see, you know, who's on Instagram, who sees stuff.
Mm.
So I started to really work on building that. And it went up. It went like 200, 500, 700, 900. I think we're almost to 1.2 million. And we're just growing,
Dang.
like it's growing daily.
Hmm.
It's
I'm just trying to break
insane
1,000
sometimes.
right now.
Huh?
So I'm just trying to break 1,000 right now.
Right? I mean,
Well, I mean, he just gave you the keys, man. You know, he just gave us the keys, keeping it fresh, trying new ideas, and caring about the packaging of your product,
you know what? You got to look at who your audience is, and you're making videos for your audience. That's what it's about. There's no algorithm. You replace the word algorithm with audience, and that's who you're making the videos for. You're not
Hmm.
making it for this thing on that doesn't exist. You're making it for people to see. So I don't know. You know what? I've done an insane amount of research on YouTube. Back when I was working where I used to work, I would sit down, I'd put earbuds in, and I would work all day just listening to videos from guys like Mr. Beast, and not their like actual videos that they make, but interviews and stuff, because they talk about that stuff. They talk about obsession, and how if you want to be successful at anything in life, you have to be obsessed with it. I think that's probably one of the biggest takeaways I've ever gained, was like you have to have something going through your head like all the time. You got to be obsessed about it. You have to, I mean, that's how you keep that drive, that to just keep going and going and going and getting better. Um, and if you don't have that, you're just, you're not going to be motivated to do. It's like working a job you don't like. You know, you'll go there and you'll do it. You'll put your time in. You'll be a decent worker, but then there might be a job that you want, and you'll work your ass off for that job. You'll go to college for that job. You'll put in overtime to get that job. You know, that's what drive is. That's what being obsessed with something is. and it can go with
Yeah,
fighting too.
absolutely. Like,
If your goal is to be the UFC champion, you have to have it in your head that that's a reality, that you can actually do what you put your mind to. It's just how much of yourself are you going to put into it?
exactly. I think when people become obsessed, it's like they're willing to do whatever. Because I feel there's the universe or whatever it was gonna test you. Like, you really want this? How bad do you want it? I'm gonna put this trial in front of you. Then I'm gonna put an even bigger trial in front of you. I'm gonna put this even bigger trial. Are you gonna continue to go? Because you can continue to rise, but it's gonna get harder. And yeah, I feel like that obsession part, yeah, helps drive. I even joke with some people. I talk about Zuel once or twice. I remember I was doing an order all night. I stayed
Mhm.
up. I drank a couple coffees. It was in the morning. I woke up and everything was like a quarter inch off. And I fucking like I don't really say, but I cried. I was just like hundreds of dollars of material down the drain. I had to replace all of it, get it all done. I was like, ugh, it was terrible.
I know what you mean, man. Like, and people will look at you like, man, you're crazy. Like, why are you doing all this? And like, but you know that it's worth it to you. And I've had similar things happen. Not similar, but I've had roadblocks where it's like I'll spend all this time on a video, and then all of a sudden I lose this video. Man, I edited this video one time. It was only 2 hours of work, but I had upgraded my editor, and it put some kind of weird like color grading option in there that was AI generated. And so partway through my video, the color saturation exploded and it looked horrible. And I couldn't find, and I'd already like started a new video. So I couldn't like, I spent so much time trying to find, and I eventually did. I eventually found a backup file buried deep in my computer, and I opened it up and it was that full fight that was complete. And all I had to do was revert my to the previous version of my editing software and then hit export, and it saved it. Now, I could have re-edited it. It wouldn't have been the end of the world by any means, but man, that's way worse with having to do a bunch of, having stuff off though, because you got wasted materials and that kind of stuff. But yeah, um I feel you on that though.
Yeah, those trials and errors, man, it'll make or break you. And once again, you're still here thriving. We witnessed the humble beginnings, and now we see, uh, we see you climbing mountaintops.
I'm glad you guys have all been able to be part of it. And Buddy V, I know you can't make it out as much as you want to, but it really means a lot that you still love us, you still talk about us, you're still involved how you can be involved. And Psalm K, I mean, it was awesome for you to come out and experience, what the scrapyard's like and referee a fight and get a fight in yourself too.
Yeah, man. Dope experience for sure.
And I've been with some applications for some night jobs. So once I get one, that weekend job, and then I'm like, weekends free again. But yeah,
Yep.
I need those weekends back. I was curious because I was going to ask another question. And I know that we can't keep you all night too because we have different time zone. We have Jay and everything else, but we still have a little bit of time left. And I have this one question I'm very curious about because we always ask people, about different animes they like to watch, different fighting stuff, different fight movies and shows. And I knew I had to ask you. So when I brought up the one I talked about, Hajime no Ippo, you lit up. You were just like, I seen this and that, and blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, I got to know. Like, so what's one or two you could recommend, or do you have a favorite?
They're not all fighting. Actually, all the animes that I prefer are fight based, but not boxing or whatever. So Hajime no Ippo, definitely goated. That for an anime boxing, like that's the best. I mean, you got what's the other big one? Baki, which is it's all right, but
Oh,
Ippo is just so much more realistic. Some of the stuff that I watch is I'm not so adventurous with trying new things out, but Bleach, I've been a Bleach fan since at least a few years. My friends at work got me into it, and then I went and watched like all 300 episodes of it. And then now they're doing the 1,000-year blood war. And, you know, it took like, I forget, 20 years for him to start that again. And so I've been watching Bleach. I watched Dragon Ball. I'm watching the new one. I mean, I've seen like Chainsaw Man. I don't know off the top of my head, but Bleach is probably Bleach and Dragon Ball. Those are probably my two favorites.
Yeah,
I
my
mean, I
kid's
guess
on
you could
Dragon Ball.
consider Pokemon too, but that was kind of.
Yeah, my kids always have me right here. I got my fighting gym. They watch my fights. My daughter watched one of my fights earlier. They're like, you can't have anything else. Only fight Pokemon. I'm like, all right.
I train like a Machamp.
I love it. You know what, you guys? That just gave me an idea, buddy. We need to link up with somebody that can replicate Pokemon cards and create scrapyard trading cards with
Ooh.
like a couple of their signature moves on it. I mean, if we linked up with like a legit company that could do hollows and stuff, I think that even like Street Beefs wide, like if this became like a real thing where, because the more people the better, and you get, you know, one branch has so many fighters, but three branches have 3 times as many fighters. And, you know, imagine pulling a card with your face on it. I mean, that would be pretty sick. So you
That,
heard it here
that's a
first. You heard it here first.
that's a crazy idea because um, there were talks back in the day, and there was a little bit of development on a Street Beefs video game, and everyone was like, "Oh, we love that." But truth be told, that's years down the line
It
if
ain't
it
it
ever
ain't a
comes out.
reality till it's a reality. I hate
Yeah,
to say, you
yeah.
know,
But
I've got a
a
lot of
trading
ideas.
card game or
Yeah,
a
just
collector's
collected.
type of deal, that's very possible.
I got another really good idea, and I'm not gonna key you guys in on it 100% yet, but
Yeah.
it's something website related, but it's not just like a website. Like, uh, I'll speak on that when we get closer to actually getting the name and everything. I have the name for it and everything. I just like I don't
OF.
I like
OF.
to
Only fighters. OF. Only
you know I
fighters.
did that already, right?
I didn't know. I didn't know.
You didn't know that?
Nah.
Oh, I changed my GoPro channel to Only Fights. I modified the logo and everything. It didn't take off. Plus, I'm not really into that stuff. So I was
Mm.
like, this isn't really me. It was cool to have the idea and make that and a animated logo and all that stuff. But, you know, like at the end, I'm just like, no, I renamed it. It was Scrapyard GoPro, then it was Only Fights, and then it was it was Scrapyard GoPro, Only Fights. Now it's Scrapyard Fights on my second channel, which I need to put some more love into. But yeah, but no, this website
I thought
thing,
it was Scrapyard Fights.
this website thing, no, it's a really cool idea that nobody's done yet, and it'll I have to be vague, but it's hard to get people excited about a vague idea, you know.
Mm.
I
It's
like
going to
to under
completely change the game.
I like to under promise and overperform. That's my thing. It's like I don't like to make promises and tell people like this is going to happen, that's going to happen, kind of until I know for sure. But more to come.
I can't wait to hear. Well, I don't know. As we get a little closer to the end of the show, Samke, I was gonna ask, did you have an extra final question or two for the wonderful Fire Chicken, the one and only Fire Chicken, head honcho, the scrapyard?
Yeah, man. Final question for the night. Moving into 2025, what can you give us outside of the UK fights? What do we have? Not everything, but what do we have planned for the scrapyard in the next year?
So you hit it with the UK thing. January 25th is going to be our launch of next year. I don't have anything big planned for it. It's the new year, so people are going to want to come out and fight. Heading in a little bit farther down the line, you got February. Then you got, that's obviously the UK trip. possibly another event later in the year, tied to the UK event, a rematch in the United States, that you guys would all be able to like go to. There is the documentary that's going to come out early summer. That's a big one. We're going to rent a movie theater. Man, if you could come up for that, for an event like that weekend, that would be a really cool one, because we're going to get the footage. We're going to get the full edited documentary. We're going to rent out a movie theater, local one. I've already talked to them and everything. And we're going to do a premiere red carpet style. I'm going to get a like dress up with a suit, and like it's going to be a real thing. Scorpio asked about invading yards. I kind of wouldn't mind doing like a big invasion over to the OG branch, but the OG branch is nobody's been here really. Like there's been little tiny groups of people or like one or two, but nobody's been out here yet. Not one branch leader's been to the scrapyard yet, ever. So I feel like if people want to come out, or people should come out, but I do like to get over to Virginia every once in a while, just because that's where it all started. And so I don't think, if they don't come out here, it's like whatever. We'll still probably make it out to Virginia sometime next year. Am I going to fight? I don't know. I'm getting old. So
Good in the bones when it gets cold, huh?
it's just, you guys, like when you have a fight and you get motivated to get ready for the fight, it's like, I don't have to be like training for fighting, because I'm not really fighting consistently. So my brain's focused around like running everything. I still like to get in there and train with you guys, but it does hurt a lot more when I'm not staying in like consistent shape. Like when I went down to West Coast, like I wasn't in good shape when I went down there. So that hurt so bad. Everything was hurting because I was not leading up to it, because I didn't plan on taking a fight. So I was like, I'm gonna, eat ice cream and play video games for a month or two or whatever. Kind of like leading up to this last fight last weekend. But I know the last time I went to fight in Virginia, I fought A-Train and Scarface a couple of years ago. I actually got ready for that. I ran, I was consistent, my weight was down. My weight tells where my shape level is. This is pretty much as simple as that. And I think with this UK thing, since I'm a coach, I'm going to be training with these guys too. So I'm expecting after this training camp to try to be more disciplined, try to eat the right things. I don't really drink very much. That's never been an issue, but carbs and sugar are my kryptonite. Like if I could just not eat those, I would probably be like in really good shape all the time. I would just, yeah.
But they're so damn good.
Then, outside of that, we got our anniversary coming next year. We're going to probably try to have some more people come out. We're going to be doing more stuff. We're going to be doing Kicking It with Chicken's going to kick off soon, where we're going to be bringing on guests and doing that whole thing, like big name guests. And I think we're going to pre-record them though, and we're going to do a live premiere. So, there'll still be chats on the side and everything. But yeah.
What would be the what's the idea behind that?
Kicking It with Chicken? Oh,
no, doing a live replay.
Less distraction, better quality. I use StreamYard, but I do like the paid one. So I get like the 4K quality and stuff, and you really don't get the most out of it until you're doing because when you try to stream on platforms, it degrades the quality. It sucks. So I want to try to do maximum quality on my podcasting stuff.
In reference to resolution and sound. or
Resolution mainly. Yeah.
okay.
Distraction too. If we have a guest on there, yeah, it's great that we could still make it so that the celebrity or the guest or whatever can answer questions from the audience, but we're going to have it in a way that they'll be submitted ahead of time.
Mm.
Also, you know, you're dealing with the YouTube audience too, and they can be pretty shitty. They can
Yeah,
come on there, you get trolls, they ask questions, you get people that are like had fallouts with the branch, and then they're in there, saying stupid stuff. It's like that's
yeah,
just so unprofessional to me. I really try to make like what we do as professional as possible, and I want our guests being treated respectfully. We're not going to I get that there's like a difference between doing hangout stuff where people are smoking weed and all that kind of stuff. I just don't want to have any of that on like a professional um show. And I'm not
yeah,
saying it's going to be like professional in the sense that it's going to be like a big promotion or anything, but it's just me trying to put ourselves out as being professional, and that I think it would make it more lucrative for guests to want to come on.
yeah. Thinking about the brand.
Yeah, no, we're representing a name, we're representing an image, and it's important to me that we put out our best image, and people have more respect for you, I believe, when you're being that way. So I don't know, just ideas. I haven't put it
Oh,
into
yeah.
full motion yet, so I don't know. I don't know.
It's kind of crazy. I think it's easy to forget how like we're in states where it's legal, and it's been so prominent in society as of lately. Even though it's not legal on like a federal level, it's so easy to forget a lot over the world it's completely illegal. But fighting's all around the world,
I
and
went
I
to
know in some
Florida
countries.
and they were like hiding, and I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing? And they're just like, it's not legal here, man. I'm like that just blew my mind, because it's been legal for so long that the shock value of it goes away. Because I've never been a smoker, and I couldn't smoke the entire time I worked for the federal government. So it never really appealed to me. But from the time that it wasn't legal, it was so like, oh man, kind of put that away. You're doing that, but now it's like Vegas, people are walking down the road doing it. I mean, it's just like everywhere. I mean, it's pretty much, I think it's even like more out in the open than drinking, because people got vapes now and they can vape anywhere. You can blow it in your shirt. I mean, I see it everywhere. And I mean, you don't see people walking through Walmart generally, drinking alcohol. Not generally. I guess it depends on what Walmart you go to, but
Hmm.
you do see people smoking weed outside Walmart, in Walmart. I'm just using Walmart as an example. But yeah,
These are facts. These are
yeah,
absolute facts.
yeah. Because then most people can't tell the difference between a weed cloud and a vape cloud. So, weed vape cloud. So, you know,
I got to say, one of my highlights going to the scrapyard was burning fire with the fire chicken for sure.
burn fire. When was that?
That was before our interview the day before the event.
It was
The
so good he
It's
forgot.
about a year. Like, no, I'm just trying to figure out the time frame. What month did you come out?
September last year. So this was
Oh,
the day
yeah.
before the event.
I was just thinking, because I for some reason I thought that I was still working. I was like, we
Oh
didn't
no, no,
start
no.
then.
That was the whole point. You weren't working no more.
Right.
So yeah, yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Damn. That would be great, but
We did before the interview, right? Didn't we?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what?
And was
Since I
trying to
don't
have a normal interview.
I no, dude, I'm serious. Like that is that I'm not used to that feeling really. And it kind of like messed with me for the interview a little bit. Like you know what it does to me? It makes me like, I'll sit here and I'll be working on something, and then I'll think of something, and then 5 minutes or 10 minutes will go by, and I'll realize that I haven't done anything that I'm working on. That's what it does to me.
Yeah, Blaziken. Blaze chicken. That's right, Scorpion.
Please chicken. That's funny. Get some eyes and be glazed chicken. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
The Blaze bird in the building.
Bad influences. That's what you are.
Hey, I don't know what's going on. That was the influence of Washington, sir.
Right. Yeah. Why it's
And the
called
trees.
the evergreen state.
Yep, the trees of Washington.
That's like that picture of Kobe and Snoop. It's like the one time he hung out with them and he just Damn. Well, man, I'm having a blast, and I want to keep talking, but I don't know if we could keep you all night. I don't know, Sam K. What do you think?
I want to see you again, Psalm K, man. I hope you can make it out. You know, that we'd love to have you referee or help out or just be
For
part
sure.
of an event, you know, like get some sparring in and that kind of stuff. I think that would be fun. Or maybe even be part of like one of our crazy matchups that we were talking about where we get like, you know, tag team or like 10 people in the ring and do tag offs and that kind of stuff.
Well, man, I mean, I definitely want to come back at some point. I'm retired right now, so I for sure wouldn't be signing up unless that changes. But
Yeah, it's not really a sign up kind of deal for that. You know, those are just kind of like want to do something fun, you know. Yeah.
Exhibition type stuff. I get it.
Yep, exhibition type stuff.
Yeah. For sure, man. I definitely that would be lovely, man, to come back and again be involved. You know what I'm saying? For sure.
Damn.
Buddy V, I'm hoping to see you real soon, like next month.
Yeah, man. Oh man, I miss the. I tell my girl too. I miss the scrapyard. It's just not the same. Not going out there. I hit some of the people up trying to meet up. I'm just like, man, it's just that was one of the best things too. Like my Tuesdays, I look forward to MMA Underground. Once a month, I look forward to going to the fights, and it's just
That's what I was saying earlier. Is it's a mental break for people. It's like your brain gets used to it. You want to come out and just be around people and just kind of like for me, it's a stressful day. I'm running back and forth literally like a chicken with its head cut off. I mean, you guys have seen it over and over again. I talk to people. I don't remember talking to people. You know, they'll catch me. I'll get 15 seconds with them. They'll introduce me. They'll take a picture, and then that's it. And they're like, "Hey, remember when you met me?" I'm like, "No, I'm sorry." You know, it's bad, but I mean, when you're dealing with sometimes like hundreds of people at an event, it gets crazy. But yep,
That's normal, man. You get you know, I think most members of staff who are like consistently and deeply involved, you get that fight fog just like the fighters. You know what I mean? You get the fog because, like you said, so much is going on, and it's back to back to back. This.
yep.
You know, yeah. But shoot, man, we appreciate you. If you could give us, you know, any of the social medias where we can find you, where we can see more of what you got going on, please.
Turn that around, buddy. Turn it around. That's the QR code right there. Put it up against yeah. So hold it. So if you scan that, that'll get you to our link tree. But our email is scrapyardfighting@gmail.com. Instagram, Threads, X, Facebook, YouTube, Blue Sky. I just got that one. I don't like it yet. It's got some limitations that I don't like. Reddit. I do post on there sometimes. I go through stints where I'll post, but consistently it's X, Threads, Instagram, and Facebook. Those and YouTube. Those are the consistent ones I post on. The other ones are kind of just like once in a while. But Streetbeefs Scrapyard. We even have a TikTok. Fuck TikTok. I hate that. It's so I hate TikTok.
I probably got 100 bands. I can only imagine. Ooh.
Two big ones, 255K, 155K, back up to 35,000 followers. But it's just it could end at any time. It's stupid. Until they change their terms and conditions, you can't make it on TikTok with fight content. Not unless you're doing like heavy editing or something, but you'll get caught eventually. West Coast had I think they had like a 60K follower TikTok at one point, Yeah.
Ooh, that's ridiculous.
But shout out to the wife. I always got to give her shout out. Mandy Bear. She tolerates my bullshit. She supports me. She's the one that let me build the ring and do all that and lets me go on trips and stuff when I have to. And and shout out to the staff. Shout out to everybody that supports us. And shout out to Scarface. Shout out to the fans, everybody watching. And shout out to you guys.
Yeah. Right? Who get to interview this cool fire chicken.
Yeah.
Hey,
man,
buddy, guns down, gloves up.
Yep, guns down, gloves up.
No, you were putting your guns up.
I'm not.
about to call the police.
Right?
Hey, well, we appreciate you, man. We look forward to having another interview with you again in the future. Looking forward to more things coming out of the scrapyard. And yeah, man, you have a great night.
You too. Thanks. Anytime, guys. Appreciate
you. Ooh. Dang. As you guys know, obviously you guys see, right, Samke? When the conversation's fun, it just flows and we lose track of time.
It'd be like that when you're dealing with the branch leaders, a lot of information on the table, a lot of things to go over. But the show ain't over, right?
Not quite yet. Don't go anywhere. We still got lots of
fire.
Zuel, lifestyle wear for the fighter in you. A movement to show that by utilizing hard work, grit, and determination, you could achieve any dream as long as you were willing to put in the hard work. Buddy V creates his own unique artwork and designs all of his clothing, jewelry, and accessories, taking the time to create every item so you can feel the pride in every piece. As a living embodiment of Zuel's principles, Buddy V fights MMA while staying active in the community, promoting positivity. Whether you are a stay-at-home parent, entrepreneur, or anything else, there is a place for you at Zuel.
Buddy V's Fighters to Watch.
First, we start off at the scrapyard. This one was fun because this guy's name was called Cheech in Chance. He was a fun fight to watch. Not only was it a good fight, but I think if you look closely, might have broke his opponent's nose. But I love that he was strong, he was quick, and he had lots of oomph to his punches when he was throwing. But one thing I wanted to see is a little more form of some defense because he had his hands down a lot. So I'm like, ooh, if he's going like this, and if he just gets a little bit trained and keeps elevating, whoa, how far is he really going to go with that career? So, dang, I want to see him come back. He looks like just a natural fighter. So, yeah, Cheech and Chance, come back. I need some more fights. The second one from the West Coast was Hanma. Now, this one, if you went to check out last week's Fighters to Watch, they both actually had fought. Last week was Prometheus. This week was Hanma. Now, as I was looking closely, I was reviewing some of the fights and I'm rewatching. It looked like he ended up hurting his hand. And in the fight afterwards, they said ref stoppage, and he looked kind of like he kind of hurt it. So when that kind of thing happens, and any fighter that has an injury or something, I really like to see them come back, even if it's a loss, anything else, because that fight was fun to watch, and I want to see what you got in store, what you dig down. I want to see you hit somebody and maybe get a knockout. So shit, if you hit so hard that you hurt yourself, damn man, I can't imagine what kind of destructive power you got. And from the OG yard, the fighter is War. And I mean, the name says it all. He lives up the expectation. War is not pretty or ugly. It is war. This man took punches. He threw punches, and he was strong. His base did not wither. He knew what he was there to do, and he knew that it wasn't going to be easy. His opponent has some great head movement too, but he came out and he handled his business, and he went to war. So I promise you, if you go look this fighter up, you will not be disappointed at all. But those are my 3 fighters to watch.
Nice. Great picks, man, as always.
There you say.
Fire picks. Stomp the Fire 5. We're going to start it off at the OG yard as always. You see it, Ty Lee versus Samurai in an MMA match. Both of these guys were exchanging sharp strikes, snapping kicks. We see a turn in the tide, though, after a foul. And I will say a responsible guard is a must. Having great defense and utilizing and adapting your defense is a must. But like I said, we had an unfortunate ending after the tide changed after the foul. And I look forward to seeing both fighters come back. These guys put on a show. You see the time, 2 minutes, 55 seconds. It didn't last too long. So go check that fight out. Street Beefs, OG Yard, Ty Lee versus Samurai, firefight. Yeah. Street Beefs Scrapyard, you see it. This is a boxing match between Silverback and Big K. If you're trying to look the fight up, right there on the screen is the title. Silverback versus Big K, boxing match. Heavyweight big boy action right here. We had some huge exchanges between these two. But as I always say, man, pacing is key. And along with pacing, we all know cardio is key. Cardio is key. Cardio is key. We had a crazy start and we got a crazy finish in this fight. Again, Street Beef Scrapyard, Silverback versus Big K. Yeah, moving right on along. We have Street Beefs West Coast, Soldier of God versus Flo Dub. This is actually their first fight. The fight for tonight is the second fight, the rematch. These two had a recent rematch at the Hot Box this year. And man, it was an epic fight. Once again, MMA. And both of these warriors were fighting to establish themselves. Very grapple heavy in this fight. Both of these guys working like they're on a chessboard. I mean, it was some great stuff to see. Unfortunately, we had a unfortunate ending to a great match. And I would love to see a trilogy because, again, this is the first fight. The second fight is listed tonight. And, maybe we'll get a third. We'll see. Street Beefs, West Coast, Soldier of God versus Flo Dub, firefight. Taking you back to Street Beefs OG Yard, we got Sani versus Shooby Doo. The names alone. This is a boxing match, and this was a competitive bout. Pacing is critical, though. Pacing is critical. Picking your shots. Man, we see in this fight, picking your shots truly works wonders throughout the match. We had a great display of fight IQ, great composure being seen in this fight. And these guys just went to war, back and forth. And we got a beautiful comeback within this fight as well. Street Beefs OG Yard, Sani versus Shooby Doo, firefight. And we're going to end things off tonight back at Street Beefs West Coast. You see it. We're at the Hot Box. And our guest from last week is on the Fire 5 today. Marauder versus Noxu in a Muay Thai fight. This was a fire solid matchup between two game fighters. Both men pushing the pace, both men showing improvements and adjustments throughout the fight. And we got chopping kicks, we got trash talk, we got sweeps, we got the level switches, and we got nonstop action. Everything you want to see in a firefight. Street Beefs, West Coast, Marauder versus Noxu, Samke in the firefight.
Fire, fire, just like always, man. Shit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that's kind of cool that we had Marauder on last week. So now you guys know you got to come watch that fight. That Lanny ended it with that too. So you know it's just like putting that stamp on the envelope.
Yep. Marauder just had 2 fights drop, one at Scrapyard, one at West Coast. Guys, go check the fights out. The man has been making improvements and adjustments, and you see it in his fights.
Heck yeah. And even though I'm having lots of fun, what do you say, Samke? Is it about that time?
Yeah, man, we're pushing on one of the longer episodes tonight, but I think it was worth it, man. About that time, I want to give a huge shout out to our guest tonight, Fire Chicken. We appreciate you as always, bro. Thank you for coming on. Everyone watching, go ahead and check out Streetbeefs Scrapyard channel on YouTube. Go check them out. Tons of fights, tons of content, and all good stuff, you know. Shout out to Buddy V, the greatest co-host. Shout out to Jay, the greatest producer. I want to give a shout out to Street Beefs, OG Yard, Scrap Yard, West Coast, and Dirty South. We do this for y'all. Everyone watching us on replay, everyone watching us live, everyone in the comments, we appreciate you. If you haven't liked and subscribed, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, subscribe. You know, if you're trying to catch us, man, we're same channel, same time, same place every week. And yeah, man. Final shout out to Overtime Hustling Magazine. Check them out. You see it. They got the fire magazines, all types of content on the inside, everything you want to know. Shout out to Heart in the Fight. Huge shout out to these guys, always putting in work and doing what they can for the fighters. And I cannot forget, shout out to zwellworld.com, where you can pick up your Cardio is Key shirts, as well as MMA Underground merch, as well as the Buddy V line. Everything that Buddy V's been creating and putting out. He's got a ton of new stuff, a ton of new merch. And yeah, just go check it out, support. This is what we're here for. This is what we do. And thank you.
Thank you. Shout out to Zuel. As you guys saw, or from the magazines earlier, OTH, shout them out. I got a feature coming out this Thursday for Thanksgiving. They've been fucking with your boy for a long time, for the beginning of Zuel, pretty much. And I even was able to do a crossover a long time ago. I've never lost this cup. But the original Zuel Jaguar that was drawn by marker, I hand drew this right here, and they turned it in. And now I got digital ones. Everything's all changed, like crazy what time does. But also with that, we're having lots of fun. Thank you, Samke. I couldn't do the show without you. Every Tuesday we kill it. Jay, we keep you on your toes. And yeah, you probably had to get half a cup of coffee for tonight's show. But no, we have a good time. And like Samke said, make sure you check stuff out. Actually, this week I will be uploading Christmas stuff now. Ornaments are done. I have a few other things, and I have a couple of special edition Christmas packages that will be released. And there's only a select few, so you guys just got to stay tuned for that. And I've been excited. I've been holding off. I've been making sure photos were ready. Stuff was done properly. So now I could just go. But thank you all for supporting. We won't keep you any longer. We have a wonderful time with you every single Tuesday. It's the highlight of my week. Thank you, Samke. Jay, we will end it in your famous words with one world, one love, deuces.